We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks. You see it, KYJ. Things have changed just a little bit since the last time you were here.
I think you should see your oculus. Nothing wrong with my feet. Oh, I'm talking about your eyes.
I can even make my ass do tricks. Watch this. You have any idea where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. This is WCW. That's right. Hold on.
For over 10 years, the world's #1 source for professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your hosts, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com, along with the man they call Meathead, Dave Heroes in the house. Fish is behind the glass producing the program. I'm Frank Cosentino.
Fish?
That's right.
Fish?
They're spending money today, guys. They got fish in here.
Fish?
I am pinch hitting for
You're
Damian
pinching
Nelson.
a what? You're pinch hitting.
Hitting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I could turn your mic off. Damien did show me how to do that.
Frank, you don't have to play gimmicks. We know you host Fantasy Sports Weekly, and you've been doing it since 1999.
That's right. And I'm battling allergies like crazy here, so I sound like crap. But anyway, I'm going to do my best. We've got a full boat of fun.
We got hot news tonight.
We've got a lot of hot
news. The news is hot. Just say it's hot.
Oh, it's hot.
It's hot. Let's set the table for you here. We've got B.G. James scheduled to join us. I think he's going to join us momentarily. We've got news on the McMahons going into the Senate. Which one is it? Kurt Angle's cleared on most of his charges. Later on, Kip James is going to join us. We've got news on Jeff Hardy. TNA's No Surrender. We're going to review what happened at Breaking Point, review what happened on Raw. That's a lot of stuff, a lot of information. We thank you for joining us this morning, 414, this evening, 414-276-ESPN, 800-990 ESPN. And also tonight, unfortunately, the live TV won't work with us this evening.
It's technical difficulties, unfortunately. We'll blame Fish. I mean, Fish is here. No, we can't do that. Come on. He's wearing a nice, fancy green warm-up jacket. Fish is working the board. He's got it going.
You can't beat it. It's hot news.
It's hot news.
Let's get this going.
But we will get this going. Again, your phone calls throughout the evening. We got Damian Nelson on the line. Damian, good evening.
Frank, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Sorry I'm not able to make it to the studio tonight. I'm at Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois for a Cubs versus Brewers outing.
Are you at catering in Wrigley Field right now?
Always perpetuating the rumors.
Perpetuating?
Well, I'm just saying. I am currently here, and it looks like I don't even know who's winning, but that's not important.
What?
But guys, what a show you have lined up. B.G. James and Kip James both in one night. And I understand we're also going to be sharing information as to who is going to be joining us next week on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Big names coming up forward in the next couple of weeks right here on the show. And keep in mind, folks, while we talk to B.G. James later on, we were the first news outlet to break the news that him and Jim Cornette had parted ways with TNA Wrestling.
Yeah, that's big news.
That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for, to talk about that, and we'll get their perspective on it. Matter of fact, why don't we do that now and speak to the Road Dogg.
You ask me to call somebody.
B.G. James joins us on the Pro Wrestling Report.
That's correct. And who was that at Wrigley Field who didn't even know the score of the game?
That's our own Damian.
He's not a real man. He doesn't know what sports are.
Take a look on the screens. It looks like Milwaukee's up 5-2, but I'm not sure if that's tonight or a replay.
I think you're correct. It is 5-2. But let's talk about the score with the Road Dogg. You've had an interesting last 24 hours. Explain, what's going on in your world.
Yeah, I have had interesting. That's a good way to put it. An interesting 24 hours. Another good way to put it was you said that I parted ways with TNA. Actually, TNA called me at my daughter's volleyball game and fired me. And they didn't give me a reason. I guess they don't have to. but now you're speaking to the unemployed Brian Gerard James.
Well, hey, Road Dogg, it's me, Dave Hero. You know, TNA's been going through a whole lot of stuff lately, a whole lot of turmoil, a lot of ups and downs, and this is just what many people are saying is the beginning of a whole lot of shakeups. It seems like a lot of Jeff Jarrett's boys, you know, his inner circle has been picked apart in TNA. You know, first it was Dutch Mantel, Savio Vega, Jim Cornette, now yourself. What's going on down in TNA?
To tell you the truth, your guess is as good as mine. When it all started coming down, Jeff and I had actually had a falling out, and so I don't right now at this point put myself in the Jarrett camp, and so if they're trying to get rid of all of Jarrett's people, I don't know why I was one of them. He and I got into a not a physical altercation, but just verbal over the telephone, over the whole Kurt and Karen Angle deal, and I haven't spoke with him since, to tell you the truth, and that was probably a month, 2 months ago, and I've tried to contact him, and he won't contact me back, and to say the truth, that breaks my heart. I've known Jeff my whole wrestling career, and I've always looked up to him. I've always thought he was real smart when it came to the business, and so I have had an interesting 24 hours, to say the least.
And Brian, you were also one of the very first big names that came into TNA when you guys first started out doing your weekly pay-per-views and whatnot. And, you know, pretty much, you know, your whole family's been involved. It's been you and your dad and your brothers in the startup of TNA. So, you know, I can understand where there's a little bit of mixed emotions right now.
Yeah, no. I mean, the emotions aren't mixed. I'm not hot at anybody, really, at any individual. I just confused. I just don't understand what's going down. But with the letting go of me and Jim Cornette, they just brought back Scott D'Amore, which is he's a great guy, but he really is like the only one they have there. They were using Taz as an agent for just Samoa Joe's matches, so I really. It would be interesting to see this pay-per-view and especially to be backstage and to see how they're going to pull this one off, because as far as I know, they don't have any agents.
The Road Dogg, BG James, joins on the Pro Wrestling Report, 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Road Dogg, did they have plans for you that you were, you know, just getting ready for the next program, or were you kind of in flux?
No, I was working backstage totally now. I wasn't in the ring anymore. I was doing I was the road agent. They call it the road agent. It's the guy that handles all the house shows, and I actually handled 3 to 5 matches on the TV tapings every time we went down there, and so. I wasn't involved in anything. I was involved in everything, and like I said, it's just discouraging that this had to happen. I don't wish them ill, but it's hard to wish them well right now. That's for dang sure.
Well, you know, when one door closes, they always say that another one opens. And right now, BG James, formerly the Road Dogg, available for independent bookings and fan conventions. Isn't that right, Brian?
I like that plug.
I mean, your guy is working up here for you.
It was so subtle, too. The plug was so subtle, and the transition from what we were talking about just straight to the gratuitous plug.
Well, yeah, he segues perfectly. Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm also a very big fan of BG James. You know, you and Billy, were in Milwaukee back in March, the DX versus the NWO. You guys packed the house.
Can you say that still, or are you going to get in trouble?
No, sure. Well, you know, it's already happened.
Well, I just got an email, actually, just right now. Cease and desist. Yeah.
As we speak, Senator McMahon is on the other line.
Well, you know what we'll do is if we do get another one, I'll just have you autograph them, and then we'll just sell them on eBay. How does that sound?
We'll just sign and sell it.
Right.
I dig it.
The Road Dogg, I know this is all new to you the last 24 hours or so, but if you can take a guess on what your next step is, or if there is a next chapter, is it continuing in wrestling in some capacity, or is there something, hey, you know what, I think I have an opportunity to do this?
tell you the truth, I don't have any other this to do. All I know is professional wrestling. I got out of high school, joined the military, was in the Marine Corps for 6 years, and then became a professional wrestler. And that's what I've been doing my whole adult life. And so I don't know nothing else. And so it's safe to say I'm going to stick with wrestling. Mm-hmm. As Dave so eloquently said, I am doing independent shots right now.
Bar mitzvahs, birthday parties,
right. Anything, anything that'll make $1. So
and
all I got to
do is the road dog gimmicks as well. It can be Arachnoman,
yeah,
whatever you want.
The roadie.
Yeah. I can work 3 times in one night.
Do you anticipate possible phone calls from the New York area or Connecticut area, or would you be shocked by that?
To tell you the truth, I would be shocked by that. My brother works up there, and I'm in constant contact with him, and he's aware of my situation. I'm sure he it's not a secret up there. It's all over the internet and everything. So I'm sure they know. But to tell you the truth, I would be shocked by a call from anybody up there, because the way I left wasn't the best situation. I was pretty down on my luck and pretty head over heels, doing everything crazy, living the dream, or so I thought. And so to get a call from them would be surprising, but it sure would be welcomed.
Well, I mean, if they can bring Sable back, they can bring back anybody.
Yeah, there's never a never in wrestling. So
Here.
Well, Brian, you've had some great success throughout wrestling, and we were with Billy as the Outlaws, a big part of DX. Then you of course you go over to TNA, and now you've seen a different group called the Mafia, the Main Event Mafia. How do you compare the Main Event Mafia as opposed to DX back when it was you, Billy, Chyna, Hunter, and X-Pac?
With all due respect to every member of the Main Event Mafia, they don't compare to D-Generation X. It was a time in wrestling that was hotter than 40 foxes in a wool sock, and to tell you the truth, the Main Event Mafia, they have a lot of great talent, but their ratings speak for itself. That's right during the ratings wars when DX hit hard, and Stone Cold and The Rock, and the ratings were booming, and pretty much TNA shows the Main Event Mafia show. And like I said, no disrespect to any of those guys, because I know them all. I've worked with them all for 15 plus years. I've known Kurt his whole career, and I don't want to disrespect them. I'm just saying that product is nowhere near what D-Generation X was.
One of the things that we often talk about here on the PWR show is that next group of guys, who are going to be the next big names, who's going to be headlining the Bound for Glories and the WrestleManias. Now, with you being the agent, you watch those matches closely. Which young studs in TNA do you think are the ones that are going to carry that company after the main event has, moved on, and, guys like Kevin Nash and Scott Steiner and Kurt Angle have retired?
Well, I would definitely have to say the obvious is AJ Styles. Not only is he a class act, but he's one of the best wrestlers I've seen come along in a long time. Now, is he going to draw a ton of money or get a huge rating? I'm not sure of that. I can't say that for sure. But I can say that that era, him, the Motor City Machine Guns are great workers and entertaining, fun to watch. Those are the guys that I would be looking at. There's not a whole lot of guys, out there no more. It's just wrestling's changed. In the past 10 years, it's changed dramatically. And watching the other show, I don't see a whole group of guys that's going to carry that show either. So I don't know if I think it's a culture. It's a change in the culture, But like I said, AJ, Motor City Machine Guns, I loved Black Machismo. I got along with all those guys great, and they respected me, and I respected them, and it breaks my heart a little bit that I'm not going to be on the road with those cats anymore.
Do you think that maybe it's just, something that they're doing from now? Obviously, again, we just said that there's never a never in wrestling. I mean, if TNA called, say, 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, hey, you want to come back and maybe hang out? That's obviously something you would entertain?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I would. I don't, like I said, I don't see that happening. But yes, I would have to, because I'm walking on the back porch of my house right now that is mortgaged to the hilt, and so any invitation to receive a paycheck would be welcomed.
Yeah, and we'd be remiss too if we didn't mention that Damian Nelson, the host who called from Wrigley Field and didn't know what the score was. Damian Nelson says Rob Terry is the big star of 2010. Your words, quick on that. It's a joke, by the way, for us. We're not big Rob Terry fans.
I was hoping to God it was. No, to tell you the truth, that guy's a real good guy, and
he's probably the best.
He is huge. Not the best wrestler in America or the world, for that matter, but God darn, he's huge, and he's a good guy. So I don't want to dog him, but hopefully it is an inside joke that you just said that.
Yeah. Well, he's probably a great guy, but right now the guy doesn't show really any wrestling ability. So we just, we hope that Rob Terry's a big star in 2013, maybe.
Yeah, and he might be. He's exactly what Dixie Carter was looking for.
There you go. Hey, Road Dogg, can you join us for another segment?
Yeah, sure can.
All right, we got to take a break, and we come back more from B.J. James, the Road Dogg, and his last 24 hours and what the future may hold. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
You think you can tell us what to do? You think you can tell us what to wear? You think that you're better? Well, you better get ready. Bow to the masses. Break it down.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Later on in the program, Kip James is scheduled to join us. We'll also go through Breaking Point, what happened Sunday, what happened on Raw, a McMahon in the Senate, possibly. Jeff Hardy, TNA No Surrender preview, your phone calls, and much, much more. We continue on the line right now. B.G. James, the Road Dogg, who unfortunately was released by TNA yesterday. And, Road Dogg, thanks again for hanging on with us.
Oh, no problem.
The other organization that's out there, there's a few, but one that at least has a TV contract of some sort is Ring of Honor. Do you have any thoughts on them when you were at TNA? Was that ever brought up? Did you ever watch their product?
You know what? I never did watch their product, but I heard a lot about them. Word of mouth was a big time. I heard a lot about them. But just seeing wrestlers that came out of there makes me kind of wish I would have watched them or could have. I don't know if I don't have that many cable channels, but. But Chris Daniels and AJ and all of them were, and all those guys I named earlier were kind of Ring of Honor's guys, and so they definitely got some talent. There's no doubt about that. But I never followed their program, and if they called me to come work up there, I'd have to decline because all their guys are young and can go.
So what are you saying?
That I'm old and I can't.
Okay. Well, and of course, if they don't call you, Brian, they can also message you on Facebook, correct?
That's correct. That's correct, Dave.
B.G. James is now on Facebook.
Well, my wife got me on there. I just have no idea how to do it.
Well, Brian, also, real quick, we got Kip coming up in a few minutes here. What is your best Billy Gunn road story?
And remember, we are live on the radio. The FCC does monitor what we do.
That is a loaded question. But I'm gonna tell you a story. It kind of incriminates myself instead of him, but it involves him. The first night we ever spent the night together in a hotel room when we were first put together as a tag team, we got hammered, and I woke up to him yelling at me, and I was standing peeing in the air conditioner of the hotel room. And he swore to me right then, he cussed me like a dog and swore to me, I will never share a room with you again. And you know what? He kept his promise.
One and done, huh?
A room again. You know what? I wouldn't room with a guy peeing in the air conditioner either.
That would be an unusual smell in the morning. I'll tell you that.
So I wanted to incriminate myself instead of dog him.
There you go. All righty. Well, BG James, thank you for joining us tonight. We will definitely get you back on here again. We're going to work on that BG James Road Dogg Road Stories, I think. I think that should be the book that comes out next for you.
Wow. That should also be one that's done, off air, so we can tape the interview and we can put in the censor marks wherever we have to, so that way you can actually tell the story.
Right, I can actually tell all the good stories.
Right.
And I was also informed that the first half of this interview by my wife that I was way too nice to TNA.
Well, that just means we're going to have to bring you back shortly, and we'll, give you a little more time.
Yeah, let this all settle and let me get hot about it.
Sounds good.
And if you're hot, man, say you're hot.
I'm not.
All right, Road Dogg, BG James, thanks a lot for your time, and good things happen to good people, so stick in there.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it, man. Y'all have a good one.
All right, brother, a lot. Coming up next, Kip James will be joining us. Your phone calls and much, much more. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
I'm a nice man. Yeah, I'm a nice man.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report, 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Later on, we will talk about what happened on Breaking Point, what happened on Raw, a McMahon possibly in the Senate, which is amazing in itself. Jeff Hardy, latest news on him, the latest news on Kurt Angle. We'll go through TNA's No Surrender preview, your phone calls, and much, much more. 414-276-ESPN, all over the country, all over the world at 800-990-ESPN. But now joining us from TNA, Mr. Kip James. Kip, how are you?
Good. What's happening?
Not much. Thanks for taking the time this evening.
Thanks for having me.
TNA's got a lot of information, a lot of stuff going on, but let's talk about your role right now in TNA and what's coming up for Kip James.
Well, my role at TNA right now is just to fix a lot of stuff. Fix a lot of stuff in the back that's not broke, or that's broken anyway. But they got me doing a little agenting now, which I'm just kind of getting my feet wet doing that because I haven't really grasped a lot of that. But, it's really nothing new for me because, anybody that's been around me knows that I like helping guys and do whatever I can to help them. And I love being at TNA and helping everybody there. And if I can do a better role at doing that, then that's what I do. I mean, a lot of people ask me, well, you're not wrestling. Well, why aren't you doing that? I said, well, it's just, we have a lot of people on the roster. So, I mean, you just wait your turn. It's not like I don't know the waiting game or how to play the waiting game because I've done it most of my career. When they need me, they'll call on me. I'm that guy that you always call on in the bottom of the ninth if you need a home run. So I'm not worried about it. I know that that when they need me they'll call me, or when they need me they'll have me come up and do something. So I'm just kind of laying around waiting for me to come back and make my big next go round.
Well, Kip, Dave Hero here. The big rumor is you're coming to Racine, Wisconsin, just a little bit south of Milwaukee, for the big TNA house show, October 24th.
Oh,
so,
yeah. That's right, I am.
You're coming up here when it's not too cold, or,
Well, yeah, when it's not too cold. Come on, Dave. I know you're a big fan of mine. You've always have been. And it's glad to have you talking to you because you know all about me because you followed my career since I started.
Yes, I have.
Nothing to be ashamed of. But, yeah, and you know me, and I hate cold weather.
Yeah.
That's why I live in Florida because it never really gets cold here.
No, I heard it's like, 85 degrees and humid down there today, right?
Well, we were at a football game all day. My youngest one was playing football today, and I was absolutely roasting. I was about to put my bikini on and just swing. Because it's far from me to put something elaborate like that on because people have watched me know that I don't wear anything crazy or anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you hear a guy down the stands going, Kip James is wearing Johnsonville brats as he's sitting there wearing his bikini on.
Yeah.
TNA's Kip James joining us on the Pro Wrestling Report, 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Kip, now you're behind the scenes a little bit. That's got to help you when you wake up in the morning and, hey, I don't feel so bad. The phones are okay.
Well, you know what? That's funny because it's kind of like that, and then it's kind of not like that. For almost been wrestling for 20 years now, and it's almost you would think that it would be better that way, but it's almost horrible for me because my body's so used to doing all that stuff that when I don't do it, my body's going, okay, there's something going on here, so let's evaluate what's going on in here and let everything ache real bad.
I was going to say, it would sound like you'd probably start tightening up because you haven't done what your body's used to doing.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, when you get set in doing something for so long, I know I've taken some breaks, but those only due to injuries. So, but, you know, your body gets used to doing certain things. You know, say you get used to walking all the time, and all of a sudden you're not walking, your legs start hurting because you're going, okay, why? Actually, it should be like that. You're not, you know, getting beat up or not bumping all over the place. You figure, well, your body will feel better. But mine actually is the opposite. I feel horrible when I don't work. That's why I want to work all the time. Because you get aches and you ache and it doesn't go away until you somebody hits you with something. So usually when my wife gets mad, I just say, honey, hit me with something, I'll feel better.
Well, you know, Kip, you've had quite the career. You know, at first it was the smoking guns. Then, of course, you had the little deal with rockabilly. And then, of course...
Notice how he was quiet on that.
See, I knew you knew me, Dave. I knew you said that real low just so you could get it in there without really offending me. I know that.
And then, of course, things blew up with DX and the Outlaws. Now, we just had Brian on about 10 minutes ago, and, you know, he was talking about the good times there. What are
my
some
mouthpiece.
What are some of your, you know, fond memories of the New Age Outlaws?
Pretty much every bit of it. I mean, there really wasn't a time that it wasn't fun. I mean, because that's when, to me, that's when wrestling was, I mean, wrestling's still fun, don't get me wrong, but we could do no wrong. I mean, wrestling in general could do no wrong. I mean, it really couldn't because it was at the top and everything was going right. You know, all the stars were aligned, the moon was in the right spot. So, I mean, everything was just wide open. I mean, there was never any shut-off valve. So, I mean, it was a lot of fun. And, I mean, we had, you know, great matches. We had some great parodies. We had some great fun. And I mean, really, I can't pick of anything that really stuck out except everything. I mean, there's so much stuff that we did. The Tank stuff invading WCW, the parody where we did on the Nation, you know, the dumpster stuff we did. I mean, there was a lot of stuff, but it was so wide open, and there was no reins put on us. There was nothing. So, I mean, we could just go out there and have fun. We had no agenda. We just, you know, me and Brian just went out there and had fun. And, of course, when you do that, the people see you having fun. Then the people have fun. Then you got 20,000 people in a stadium going crazy when you come out because they know they're fixing to have fun and see some cool stuff. So, I mean, there's nothing really that strikes me that, you know, one great thing that we did. Everything that we did was great because at that time everything you did was going to be good anyway.
You know,
if that makes sense.
Well, one of the first big things that the Outlaws did was beat the Road Warriors. And that shocked, I think, the wrestling world, you know, quite, you know, by a big surprise. What was it like working with the Road Warriors early on?
It was, you know, we got them they're great. I mean, they were probably one of the greatest tags of all time. So when we were fortunate to do stuff with them it was a thrill for us because not only do we get to, you know, wrestle some of the guys that we watched growing up and that we go, you know, if you're in a tag and you've got guys like that, then you're saying to yourself, you know, I want to be where they're at. I want to be known like they are. And I want that name that when you say that name, everybody goes, whoa. You know, so it was great for us. And it was it was a pleasure to do stuff with them and it was a lot of fun.
Talk a little bit about you obviously were in WWE. You're now with TNA. Talk about the difference backstage between both organizations. Is there a major difference, or is it, hey, this is my job, this is what I'm having fun with?
Yeah, you know, I try not to get too wrapped up in what I kind of do my own thing, but I mean, I have to say that, you know, backstage at TNA is a little bit, I mean, for me, it's a little bit more relaxed because and it's more fun back there because you got a lot of young guys that are, you know, excited about the chance that they have and excited about the TV chance that they have, that get on TV and to be a part of a organization that is constantly going forward. Not that, you know, I haven't been in WWE for a long time, so, I mean, I just hear stuff that goes on, but it just seems like there's no, like, groups that run around. It's all one, we're all one, you know, entity back there and trying to strive to make TNA the greatest thing or the best product on TV that you can have.
Kip, are you able to stick around for another segment?
Sure.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, more with TNA's Kip James. We are broadcasting live from the Time Warner Cable Studios. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report, 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
911 operator, what's your emergency? Help me very much.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report, 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Later on, we'll go through the breaking point, what happened Sunday night, what happened on Raw, TNA's No Surrender coming up. We'll preview that. Information on Kurt Angle, information on Jeff Hardy. But right now, we're speaking with TNA's Kip James. Kip is he'll be on his way to Racine, Wisconsin on October 24th at Racine Civic Center.
He may be the greatest spectacle in racing.
He's also a megastar. It's megastar Kip James.
Yeah, but he may be the greatest spectacle in racing. That's a smart joke for those paying attention.
There you go. Now, Kip, we're talking. We're talking about you mentioned 20 years in pro wrestling, and you've had different characters here and there, and one of them was how do we put it? It was Billy and Chuck.
Well, yeah, we want to talk Billy and Chuck.
Was that one of the most embarrassing times?
I love talking about that. Come on, it's only embarrassing to y'all because y'all are homophobic. See, I'm not that.
It made me uncomfortable.
No, how can it make you uncomfortable? It's a character on TV. Do you get uncomfortable when you see, like, Will and Grace and their buddy next door's gay? Yeah. But you don't get uncomfortable when you watch that.
Hey, I'm gay.
So if you're going to watch wrestling, why would you be uncomfortable if you see?
I don't get uncomfortable. I wanted to set you up so you could go.
Meathead got jerky when Pat Patterson was on last week.
Right when JR said, he's single, fellas.
Foo-boo. Yeah, but you know what? People ask me that all the time, and I get the same thing that you guys just did. They go, okay, I'm going to ask you. I know you're probably going to hate it, but I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to go, okay, the Chuck and Billy thing, what about it? And they go, really? And I go, yeah. That was probably one of the greatest things that somebody pulled off. Are you kidding me? You got two guys that are straight as an arrow, pretending to be. See, because that started off as me and Chuck just saying, hey, okay, we're hot. We're good-looking guys. How come the girls get all the calendars and the pinups and all that
there you
stuff?
go.
Why can't we get that?
And you know
so
what
Go ahead.
You know what the real truth is, honestly? It got you on TV. I mean, let's just be honest about it. It got you on TV. What's wrong with that?
TV got me on everything.
Yeah.
Good Morning America.
Yeah.
As soon as we said that we were about to be life partners, every show from coast to coast around the world had called WWE headquarters and say, we want them. We want to talk to them. How can they do that? So you tell me how two guys, both of us married, straight as an arrow, pull off something like that to make everybody go, wow, really?
You made it happen.
That means we did a great job.
Absolutely.
At what we did.
You got it over.
Absolutely.
And that's saying something. For me, that's saying something. For Chuck, that's saying something. For everybody that had something to do with that we pulled off. It wasn't like we were trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes or nothing. It was a character on TV that people just bit hook, line, and sinker.
Mm-hmm. And that's and it's funny that we say that's what got you over. And you had a segment on TNA a few weeks ago that related to one of those cars. Must have been one of those cars that you had when that was going on.
Yeah, exactly. Back when Chuck and Billy were hot, I had cars like that. And when the Age Outlaws were hot, I had cars like that. But no, it's just something that, sure, if we were uncomfortable about doing it, or if we had any reserve and pulled back from doing any of that, it would have never gotten to where it got to. Mm-hmm. And you say, like, we got on, we were on Good Morning America. We did ESPN Up the Yin Yang. We did Howard Stern. I mean, our whole day was full. I mean, we literally did everything. We were on everything. I mean, we were in Time Magazine, for goodness sakes. Come on.
Yep.
How many wrestlers made Time Magazine? That's the President's Magazine.
Come
on.
The only ones that make it are Chris Benoit and Jeff Hardy.
Hey, all right.
Thanks for putting me in that.
Yeah. Hey, all right, we're going to steer completely away from that. We were just talking to Brian, like we said earlier, and we asked him to, mention his
most Billy Gunn Road story.
His best story, and what he said was the first time you guys ever shared a room together that you pissed in the air conditioner.
Who did? He did.
That you did. He said you.
No, he's a lie. That was him.
chance, what is your best Road Dogg road story?
My best
that we can air.
We really didn't travel a lot. We just did all our stuff on TV. Probably my deer story, and everybody's probably heard that, is the one time that me and Brian are riding together. We're in South Carolina or North Carolina going clear across the other side of the state, and there's a highway, I think it's Highway 85, where once you start on that road, you see nothing but woods and woods for like at least 150 miles. Now, we're an hour into the trip, and, of course, there's woods down the middle, woods on the side. We're on a two-lane.
That's how Carolina is.
Yeah. So we're driving, I'd say, 70 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour. This car goes to – I'm on the right-hand lane. This car passes me on the left-hand lane. As soon as it gets to the front of my car, a deer jumps over the back of her car and comes right in my window.
Wow.
And that's not a lie either. It comes right in my window, swings around, comes in the driver's side, and then in the passenger side, and just crumples in the median. And Brian looked like, and I never moved the wheel. I mean, how we didn't wreck, I have no earthly idea, because I never flinched, never moved. I closed my eyes so all the glass wouldn't get in there, pulled over on the side of the road, and I thought that Brian had a stroke right in his seat. It was absolutely horrendous. It was horrible. I had deer from the front to the end of my car. I had hooves and all kinds of stuff in there. We got out, got a ride, and told Budget to come get it. I said, come get it, because it won't go anywhere. Well, but that's probably the best one.
Well, one place you are going to be is in Racine in October 24th at the Racine Civic Center. Yourself, TNA, Kip James. Kip, thanks a lot for your time and continued success.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Kip. We appreciate it.
When we come back, we continue with your phone calls. We'll talk about Breaking Point, Raw, and much, much more. You're listening to Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report, 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. The man they call Meathead Dave Hero. I'm Frank Costantino, pinch hitting for Damian, who's at Wrigley Field having a Wrigley dog.
He's doing more than having a Wrigley dog. Thank you, because that
Wrigley dog.
Isn't that
no, that's you might think of like Fenway Frank or something like that. But
I don't know what they call it down there.
No, his name is Frank Costantino, not Fenway Frank.
Oh, but upching. No, they call him overpriced processed meat down there on the north side of Chicago.
Along with what is it, a Blat?
Old Style's big down there.
Oh, that's nasty.
Next week.
There goes that sponsorship deal we had.
There we go.
Well, I love Old Style, so we just got it back.
Next week we will be on again at 8 p.m. Central.
Wednesday. Wednesday.
And scheduled to join us, an interview with AJ Styles. And just, once again, we just had BG James. We just had Kip James. The interviews keep coming and coming.
And it's unfortunate that, we'll have to explain our gushing over AJ Styles over the last week. Damien and I didn't express.
Well, you guys have the man crush.
You know what? Kelly Holcomb's not in the NFL anymore, so I have to have somebody.
There you go. 414-276-ESPN, 800-990-ESPN. Let's talk to Glenn. Glenn, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey, Glenn.
Hey, Glenn. Where are you from?
Orlando.
I'm sorry, say it again. I didn't hear you.
Orlando.
Hey,
Orlando.
Welcome.
Now, I don't have a computer right now, but I don't know if anybody else called in today so far.
You're first.
And if I'm correct, that's the first for PWR, first time in a row for someone to come in 3 in a row.
Okay, well.
All right. You're keeping score. We got about a minute, Glenn. Go ahead.
Yeah. My question is, do you see similarities between WWE and TNA taking ideas from each other? The reason I ask is because WWE has Hell in a Cell. Every match is inside Hell in a Cell, a.k.a. Lockdown, every match in a cage. You also have WWE Hurricane trying to figure out who his identity is, and Suicide in TNA. For TNA, you have Terradome, which is, I think, similar to Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, there's some similarities, but Hurricane's been around a lot longer than Suicide. Hell in the Cell's been around a lot longer than Lockdown.
Well, Lockdown is a gimmick-exclusive pay-per-view.
Yeah, and now they're doing the Hell in the Cell almost
They're just.
exclusive.
I do think that they borrow from each other.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much that you can do.
That's how the business
on both
is,
ends,
though.
yeah.
I mean, Dave, Booker Man,
Yeah,
tell us that's how the business is.
You have the Outlaws and you got the VKM. You got the NWO and you got the Mafia.
Glenn, thank you for the phone call. Real quick, before the top of the hour, Daniel from Texas. Daniel, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Oh.
Daniel. All right. Daniel, if you want to call back, we are at the top of the hour. We will.
He's probably buying his Estrada glasses.
Oh, did you see Carrot Top? Ew.
We will talk about Breaking Point. A McMahon in the Senate, Jeff Hardy. Just a lot of information. It's all coming up. Second hour, the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks. You see it, KYJ. Things have changed just a little bit since the last time you were here. I think you should see your oculus. Nothing wrong with my feet. I'm talking about your eyes. I can even make my ass do tricks. Watch this. You have any idea where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. This is WCW. That's right. Hold on.
For over 10 years, the world's #1 source for professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your hosts, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Second hour of the Pro Wrestling Report, 540 ESPN, ESPNMilwaukee.com. Your time to join us, 414-276 ESPN, and all over the world at 800-990-ESPN. The man they call Meathead, Dave Hero. Fish is behind the glass producing the program this evening. We will be on again next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central, which is an interesting time. It's still light out sometimes when we get here.
Hey, we're prime time.
We've moved up to prime time.
Yeah.
Remember that one time? Anyway.
But later on this hour, we'll continue. We'll talk about Breaking Point. We'll talk about what happened on Raw, some news on Kurt Angle, some news on a McMahon possibly in the Senate, some news on Jeff Hardy, and your phone calls. Matter of fact, let's go to the phone calls, and let's speak to Daniel from Texas. Daniel, you held through the break. Thanks for holding. You're on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, no problem. Hey, guys.
Hey, Daniel.
What's up, Daniel?
Hey, I think it's pretty unanimous in the chat-osphere.
Thank you.
That, no problem. I think we're digging the cause as a host. I think it's pretty unanimous in the chatosphere. But I was calling in today because I thought it was funny. We were talking about a little bit earlier in the chatosphere that nobody's mentioned really how all of Kurt Angle's charges were dropped.
Well, we haven't gotten to it yet.
I don't know, but your show on iTunes, you guys can check it out whenever this stuff did happen. I called in that night, and I called all this stuff would be dropped because you guys, everybody was making such a big deal about it. Then it didn't hit the mainstream news, and now it's just kind of quietly
disappeared.
Hey,
and
I'll admit I was the first one to say it.
You
this
and
is going to
Damian.
be big, but you know
and
what?
Damian Nelson
At the time, I mean, think about it: Olympic gold medalist,
Sure.
top star in the company. It's big news.
If he was in WWE, I think it would have made big news. I really do. But TNA, most people, most of the reports you read on it didn't even mention TNA. They said former WWE superstar or Olympic gold medalist, or just called him a wrestler, just the generic.
which is great for TNA. In a way.
In a way.
And again, all I said that night, even though it seemed like I attacked Dave, because we've got beef, and I attacked Damian, but I've been doing that for 11 years, is the fact that nobody gave this guy a chance to let his name get out there, let him explain what happened, and let the facts start to fall off. And now what's happened with Trinisha is basically we found her out to be cuckoo.
Yeah. She fell off her cracker. Well.
Yeah. Well, the next thing I wanted to talk about, I've been dying over this Linda McMahon thing. I've been putting a ton of links in the chatosphere. I don't know if people have been looking at them or not, but it's she's got to be nuts going up against Chris Dodd. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
Well, Daniel, thank you for the phone call. We haven't talked about it yet. We might as well at this moment. It looks like Linda McMahon is going to give it a shot in the Senate as the Republican nominee for the U.S. Senate seat in Connecticut. against Chris Dodd, Democrat.
So she's on my team. She's part of Team Elephant, huh?
Well, they have the financial backing to make it work, but
you think they're going to put their own money into this?
As much as they can.
Oh, I don't know about that.
But hey, they're billionaires. They can afford to do whatever. Yeah. I mean, you know what? And I wouldn't be surprised if Linda wins.
What?
Well, it depends on what the situation is in Connecticut, which I don't have any information about. But it is a situation where it is a name. At first, when I read this, I'm like, publicity stunt.
Look what happened with Jesse Ventura. He won.
Completely different deal. Linda McMahon, completely different deal. Linda McMahon is the head of a company that doesn't even give their own employees health insurance.
Well, that's something that Chris Dodd can go after, but
right, exactly. That's a huge
because
sticking
they're
point.
Independent contractors.
That's a huge sticking point right now. But you're talking about people that are in the know of wrestling. Now she's going outside the wrestling realm into the mass public. I didn't say
they're
that right.
They're going to see a company that pays a nice dividend, that's run well, it's a strong business. Why
they're
wouldn't they want
see a wrestling company?
Doesn't make a difference. She could be Barnum and Bailey's.
It's a successful company.
It's successful.
But she also doesn't take care of her employees as far as giving them health insurance.
But they're
and if health
independent
insurance,
contractors.
We're not going to argue that point. I don't argue that point with you.
But you're bringing it up
I'm
again.
bringing it up because that's what the
it's
mass.
Irrelevant.
It's not going to be irrelevant. That's what the mass will
it,
talk about.
Well, it will be irrelevant because it simply put, they are independent
I'm sure they'll ask her
contractors.
the question one time and she'll say they're independent contractors, and that'll be the end of it.
Right. She does say she's giving this a shot because Washington is, quote, out of control.
And she's
Chris,
the savior?
and
sorry,
Chris
Frank.
Dodd, quote, lost his way in our trust. Now, she is going up against 3 other Republicans, so this isn't a slam dunk, but who knows what kind of, I don't know anything about Representative Rob Simmons or Sam Caligari or anything like that. But, again, when I first read this, I'm like, well, this has got to be a publicity stunt. But then when it hit CNN and all the major news outlets, holy cow, this is
Linda McMahon's a smart woman. You know, she's not doing it for, it's something that she wants to do. It's not because she wants to say, hey, look at me, I'm going to try and do this. It's not a Jerry Lawler stuff.
You're right. You think Jerry Lawler's just doing it just to get his name over?
I don't think Jerry Lawler really cares to be the mayor of Memphis.
He just wants to do it to be bigger?
It's for fun.
And Memphis
Jerry Lawler has more money than anybody in Memphis.
And Coca-Cola memorabilia.
And Superman memorabilia. Why would he want to do it? There's no reason for it.
My question
he cares.
My question for both of you before we hit the break, will you be upset if they bring this up each week on WWE programming?
I would expect it.
Yeah, I would expect it as well. Commercial breaks, in and out of product.
But will you be upset like 3 or 4 weeks from now when here comes Linda McMahon again? Or
I'd be upset if they spent a 15-minute segment on it.
It'll be interesting. I don't think they're going to overdo it. I'm sure there'll be some mentions of it. There'll be well-done vignettes, if anything. Mm-hmm. I don't expect them to bring her out and put her in the center of the ring.
Okay. When we come back, we'll take your phone calls and much, much more. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We welcome your phone calls this evening at 414-276-ESPN.
And your dance.
800-990 ESPN. The man they call Meathead, Dave Hero, Fish behind the glass, producing the program. I'm Frank Cosentino. Jamie Nelson is in Chicago enjoying a night off.
A night off.
He's at catering.
The guy's he's at catering for the Cubs. Don't lie. The guy's supposed to be the host and the architect of the PWR, and the guy takes nights off.
Hey, he works hard. He deserves a night.
We all work hard. If you're hot, Frank, say you're hot.
I
put it off on Frank.
Open the window.
Frank, go.
Let's go to the phones and speak to Ruben in New York City. Ruben, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, Ruben.
How's it going?
Good.
Oh, man, I didn't know you really wanted to know. I'm sorry.
Now, I was seeing the WCW DVD, the Rise and Fall of WCW.
Great DVD, by the way.
The what?
Real in-depth.
That's Dave Hero being facetious. Dave Hero being facetious.
Just say it's sarcastic.
Yeah, I was watching it. I was seeing a lot of similarities to TNA. What do you think about that?
Well,
I don't know.
I watched the documentary. I watched it, about the first week it came out. And, again, what I was looking for both sides of the story.
Which you weren't going to get.
And I knew I wasn't going to get, but I was hoping. I hoped. And I didn't get it. And you know what? They buried 3 guys in that DVD. Kevin Nash, Vince Russo, Eric Bischoff.
It's WWE. What do you expect?
Yeah, I'm surprised they buried Kevin Nash.
And you had wrestlers burying him,
as Triple H
too.
is with him, I'm surprised.
And they buried him on WWE TV as well for the next couple of weeks following. Maybe it's an inside joke with the guys. Who knows? I doubt it.
You know what? Kevin Nash, it's a joke to him because he's getting paid.
Because of the
Everyone
DVD.
they sell, he's in it. He's getting a cut.
So what do you think TNA has to do to improve more?
TNA has to advertise on Monday Night Raw. Because there's a whole audience that has no clue that TNA is even out there.
And the general public doesn't know TNA is out there because when we talked about the Kurt Angle thing, Kurt Angle wasn't mentioned as a TNA wrestler. He's mentioned as an ex-WWE wrestler.
Well, you can even talk to guys like Kurt Angle or Kevin Nash or whoever, and they'll walk to the airport, and they'll say, hey, where have you guys been for the last 5 years? No one knows.
Wrestled last week on TV.
Yeah, they don't know.
Ruben, thank you for the phone call. 414-276-ESPN, 800-990. ESPN. Breaking Point was Sunday night, and I'm not going to go through all the matches because we basically knew what happened. But the one thing I want to touch on is Legacy defeating DX. Were you shocked by that a little bit?
Well, I put over Dave Hero this week on Primetime and said, I'm going to speak for Dave Hero. Legacy needs to win this match.
Right.
And what better thing is to have Shawn Michaels do the JOB in Montreal. The guy who said, everyone said he'll never put anybody over, and he does it. Of course, it took 2 guys to make him submit.
Right.
But he did.
Now, we saw what happened on Raw, and I want to keep this going because they've already mentioned the match of Hell in the Cell with Legacy against DX. Now, my question to both of you guys, and what I've hoped happen is Legacy continues a push, but will they get buried if they lose at Hell in the Cell? Does that mean the run is done? It's over?
There's no way Legacy's going to beat them in Hell in the Cell. There's no way.
And,
they got their rub. They're going to elevate them for the next month or so. Then DX is going to bury
That's just to get over him again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Think about it. Right now, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, and John Cena, they have the easiest jobs in the world.
Right.
They do. They're working the same guys every night. It's the same match every night. I mean, how hard is it for Triple H to keep working, Legacy in a handicap match?
Sure.
And then you
You're
got,
right.
It's just real simple. It's very easy for those guys.
And that's what we've talked about before, the fact that, WWE doesn't seem to change their mix, their main event or whatever, because they are doing the same thing. And if DX did house shows, they do the same match there too.
Let's go to the phones and speak to Bowman in Los Angeles. Bowman, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Bowman.
Bowman in Los Angeles.
Yeah, no, I'm out here in Los Angeles for this week.
All right.
Checking out on catering too with Bound for Glory coming up in a month.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on the catering. It seems like everybody's getting catering nowadays. So
hey, we're trying. What's up, Bowman?
I had a question on the it was something on PWR Express that I saw, and I wanted to comment on it. I think today is the latest one.
Okay.
The one on talked about WWE TV and the rumors of a 5th show and all this other stuff, and I really hope that doesn't happen. But I was thinking of like how they should really lay out their television programming, and just I feel as though like they have all this spread out but not organized properly at all. They have 14 pay-per-views, 5 hours of TV, and they premiere the same 6 guys pretty much on all the shows.
Yeah.
And I think they could better organize it if they actually keep Raw at 2 hours, keep SmackDown at 2 hours. That hour that they give the superstars should just go to ECW to help elevate more of the younger talents that come out of FCW or whoever they want to put on that show to elevate something. And then instead of having, what do they have, 16, 14 pay-per-views a year now?
Something like that.
Yeah, I believe it's 14, yeah.
Slim it back down to 12, take those 2 pay-per-views, add them to 2 other Saturday night main events, have 4 of those out of the year, and then out of the big 4 pay-per-views, make those all 4 hours, and all the other ones just 3 hours. I think they could better spread things out.
That has been talked about numerous occasions on this program as far as number of pay-per-views.
And also
so
TNA is, right
and
from
Bowman,
Dixie,
thank you for
the
phone
Cougar,
call.
Dixie the Cougar Carter's mouth. She has said that they're thinking about re-looking at their pay-per-view scheduling. And if that means, trimming back to maybe 10, maybe 8 pay-per-views a year, who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
When we come back, we'll continue to talk about Breaking Point. I want to talk about Legacy again because I have a question for both of you. We're broadcasting live from the Time Warner Cable Studios. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Your phone calls are welcome at 414-276-ESPN all over the world, 800-990-ESPN. Meatheads on the chatmosphere, whatever you want to call it. Dave Hero's in the house. Fish is producing the program. Frank
Fish, you've been killing it tonight. Thank you.
Define killing. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? You've been tremendous. You've been tremendous.
You don't get a phenomenal thing because that belongs to AJ, and I have to pay a nickel every time I say it. So,
hearing the Razor Ramon theme song.
Mm-hmm.
When he was back in town back in March for the the Outsider
show. The
show. Yeah. I was tempted to walk up to him with a box full of toothpicks and a Sharpie marker
and get him to sign the toothpick.
and ask him to sign the toothpick with the Sharpie. Just look on his face, I think, would have been great.
Oh, yeah.
But it would have been just for you. I mean, you're not going to do that on a mic, are you?
Of course. Absolutely. That was great.
Booker man always thinking.
There you go. Let's go to the phones and speak to Tony from New Jersey. Tony, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Hey, what's up,
Good,
Tony?
I'm a little nervous. This is the first time I've called in. I just wanted to...
You're amongst friends.
You're okay.
I know. I just wanted to know if you guys have a couple minutes just to hear a quick story about how much I love wrestling.
By all means, go ahead.
Okay.
And
excuse me?
Go.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I start school next Monday night, so it's the end of an era for me in a way. I've probably watched every episode of Raw with my father. I go back to before the live shows in the arenas, back to the primetime wrestling show.
Mm-hmm.
Even the one it was Gorilla Monsoon and just Bobby Heenan sitting at the table across from each other.
The good old days.
Yeah. And my father passed away about 13 years ago. And since then, I still watch. He passed away the Saturday before the NWO invaded WCW.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to DVR it now, but I just remember me and my father watching that every Monday night. I thought you guys would like to hear this because people tell stories about what baseball means to them.
Sure.
And wrestling never gets, any respect for just the theatrics and everything and how good some of the characters are. And I'm a huge WWE mark, and especially Raw. So I thought you guys would like to hear that.
Hey, no problem.
We appreciate
and
that.
That's a great story. It brings great memories. So we appreciate the phone call, Tony, and by all means, call again. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. The very first wrestling show I ever went to, I was in second grade, AWA, at the Mecca, Crusher vs. Mad Dog. I hated it. I go, Dad, we're leaving. We left early. It was freaking terrible.
I'll have to ask Big Lou about that because
he wasn't pleased that we left early. I just thought it was just ridiculous. And
Does the Great Khali leave early?
No. The Great Khali, he sticks on for the whole show. Never, I can't pull him out of there early. There's no way.
He wants everything at the very end. 414-276-ESPN, 800-990-ESPN are the phone numbers. Again, you can join us on the Chatmosphere, whatever you guys are calling it these days.
It's the Chatmosphere.
What are some people saying?
Well, right now they were asking questions why Dixie Carter is referred to as a cougar. I made reference before to Dixie. Thank you to Dixie Carter being a cougar. Do you guys know what a cougar is?
Of course.
We're a little bit older. Fish is 22, 23. He's a younger guy.
Aren't you engaged to a cougar?
She's not a cougar. Actually, she's still a MILF.
She went to BYU?
No.
Oh.
I got you, Frank.
Let's go to the phones and speak to Johnny K., who happens to be number 465 on the D list. I've always wanted to do that. Thank you, Fish. Johnny K., what's up?
Wow.
No way.
Johnny K., you got to be there. All right.
I love that.
There we go.
How's it going, guys? Good to be listening to you. Hey, I missed the beginning part of the show. I missed the interviews with BG and Kip James. But Dave, this is primarily a question for you. With everything that's been going on, with BG gone, Jim Cornette getting let go, the whole thing with Jeff Jarrett, who's really in charge of booking now for TNA?
Vince Russo is still the head booker.
Oh,
and
good Lord.
I really believe Kurt Angle is now in there as well.
Well, is Kevin Nash involved in it at all?
No, Kevin wants nothing to do with booking anymore. Not at all.
My big concern right now, maybe not so much with Kurt Angle, but obviously with Vince Russo, TNA, the way things are going right now with them pushing the main event Mafia and guys like Steiner and Booker and Kevin and Angle and all that, I really see them, unless a change happens soon, they're going to go the direction WCW did in that last year. And I really hope it doesn't happen because I like a lot of the younger talent. I like, the Motor City Machine Guns. I love AJ Styles and hope he stays in TNA and doesn't go over to WWE because I think it would just be a loss for his career if he goes over there because he'll just get overshadowed. But I'm just really concerned with the power struggle with Jeff Jarrett going on and Vince Russo. I swear the guy is just a cancer when it comes to wrestling organizations. You look at what happened in WCW when he was there, completely drove it in the ground, and Bischoff wasn't much better with the whole thing. But I'm glad to hear that Kevin Nash is not involved in the booking and wants to stay away from it because I think he realizes that it's just a lost cause, too.
Well, right now, I mean, from what I've been hearing and what I've read is that the reason that Jim Cornette was actually fired was because he got into a big argument with Vince Russo about the push of Eric Young. Didn't believe, why are we pushing Eric Young? And I guess they got into quite the argument. And they've been waiting for put it this way, they've been waiting to get rid of Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette is a brilliant wrestling mind, but he's also very headstrong, and that's what happened with Jim. And once again, it's a Jeff Jarrett guy that's gone. Even though talking to Road Dogg earlier, he doesn't feel that he was in Jeff Jarrett's inner circle, but he was definitely one of the guys that was influential.
Well, he wasn't one of Vince Russo's boys. We've seen him do it before. Vince comes in and he pushes his guys. Eric Young has been TNA pretty much his entire career, and I don't think the whole World Elite thing. Again, it kind of goes back to WCW when you had the NWO, the NWO Wolfpack, the LWO, and all these factions, and you had the. What was that redneck group that Hennig and Jarrett had? That whole thing.
West Texas Rednecks.
That group was over with me.
You're beginning to see the same things happening right now. You've got the main event Mafia. You've got the World Elite. If we see another group come in, which I would not be shocked if that happened in the next couple of months, it is Vince Russo. It is WCW and the dying days all over again.
We'll see if that happens. Johnny K., thanks for the phone call. Appreciate it. George and Stalis, your phone calls and much, much more coming up. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We need more cowbell. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report, 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Still time for your phone calls at 414-276-ESPN, 800-990-ESPN.
Babies, before we're done here, y'all be wearing gold-plated diapers.
Thank you, Chris.
Let's go to the phones. He held on through the break. We've got George in Dallas. George, you're on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Dirty Dallas.
Evening, guys.
Hey, George.
Hey, George.
My question is, Mr. Hero, the last show you had X-Pac on it, and he became the world champion of your organization. Is he going to return back at Blizzard Brawl to defend that championship?
Yes, GLCW champion X-Pac will be there wrestling against Al Snow, the former champion.
All right.
Yes.
So were you at the last show?
Pardon?
Were you at the last show?
Yes, I was.
All right.
That's how we knew that X-Pac won.
Well, maybe he's an internet guy.
Listen to the product.
Maybe he's an internet guy.
Thank
I'm
you,
just
George.
trying to stick up for you. You're from Dallas. I spent a minute in Dallas. I had one of those mustaches.
Oh, yeah?
Thank you, George, for the phone call. Appreciate it. 414-276-ESPN, 800-990-ESPN. At breaking point, John Cena wins the title back. That was
John Cena.
Not surprising.
Not surprising. How long does he keep this thing?
Oh,
Maybe
you know what? Honestly, I don't know.
Maybe a pay-per-view.
It doesn't make a difference. I mean, either John Cena or Randy Orton has it, and that's
that's on that mountain.
That's how that company's going.
That's on that mountain. Do you think they decide that over Sunday brunch?
They are Sunday brunch. Speaking of that, Mr. Kennedy is going to be on next Wednesday. Coming back. Talking about the Hulkamania Australia tour that he's on.
Oh, hey now.
With Umanga, Rikishi, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Val Venus.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Kennedy's back. AJ Styles next week.
Yes, again, we're going to be on it.
We should start charging for this thing.
We should. A line outside to listen. Again, we'll be on at 8 p.m. Central Time next Wednesday to have those scheduled guests, AJ Styles, Mr. Kennedy, and your phone, because it's going to be another exciting show. Damien hopefully will be back unless there's a game.
I don't know. There's a upswell in the chatosphere about Kaz.
No, we need Damien to come back.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I think Kaz running the boards, a lot less.
Fish is running the boards. Otherwise, I would have made 400 mistakes already.
Fish is doing good, too.
You know what? Fish deserves a raise. He's done a great job with the music.
Well,
tonight.
I mean, you're going to get a raise when it's 0.
Yeah, what is 200% of 0?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get you a T-shirt.
Yeah, we'll get you a T-shirt.
I'll talk about swag, stuff we all get.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier on, I talked about Legacy, and I was a little bit shocked that they had one at Breaking Point. They had a match on Monday night on Raw. Now we know that they have another match at Hell in the Cell. And we're assuming that DX will win this one at Hell in the Cell, would this be the time then to break up Legacy? Because what would be next for them?
Tag team titles.
Well, no.
Why would you break up Legacy?
One of the rumors is that Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes are going to split, and Ted's going to be the babyface.
To promote the movie.
Yeah, I guess so. But right now, one of the theories is that DiBiase is going to go off on his own. And it could be interesting. They could bring in Kurt Hennig's son as a new member of Legacy.
They've already got a bunch of Legacy guys by the name of the Hart Dynasty.
Yeah, that's a different show and definitely a different story.
Yeah.
So, but, you kind of keep score sometimes. Okay, DX won one time, Legacy wins this time. Eventually, then it ends at Hell in the Cell. Could they keep? I don't think they could keep this going another round.
Well, John Cena went 12 rounds. That was bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
Well, I guess my point is, it was asked a few months ago how long Legacy would continue, and to me, it may make sense if they do lose at Hell in the Cell to because they did have a match against Randy Orton. I think it was a temperature check a few months ago to kind of see what the crowd reaction would be, and now.
Well, that was DiBiase versus Orton in the main event. Remember, Ted DiBiase Sr. was the guest host of Raw that night.
Right. So, in my opinion, if they do lose at Hell in the Cell, maybe that's the first step in what's going to break this up. Unless, like you just mentioned, the tag team title. But don't you think...
There's no way Legacy's going to beat Jericho and Big Show.
It doesn't make sense.
Who's to say that Jericho and Show don't break themselves up first? There was some heat coming. Oh, sorry. By the way, folks, this is a spoiler alert. Whoop, 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 whoop. There's some heat between Show and Jericho on this Friday SmackDown.
Oh, they're always going to tease that for a little bit. But right now, that's the best thing going in the tag team division.
You and I agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't remix that song for nothing.
No, not at all.
Jeff,
you know what? Really, either Legacy breaks up or it's the end of DX at Hell in the Cell.
Please let it be the end of DX.
That's the other reason why.
Can I ask a quick question?
By the way,
I know I'm the novice here on the show, but who's been brought back more, DX or the Horsemen?
DX.
Yeah,
really?
DX a lot lately.
Horsemen only came back maybe 4 or 5 times.
4 or 5 different versions.
Right, 4 or 5 different versions. But how many times has this been brought back for DX?
At least 6.
At least 6.
Wow.
In 4 or 5 years?
But they sell a lot of
There's been at
T-shirts.
least three
a lot of glow sticks.
Hey, there's been at least 3
a lot of cowboy
rehashes of just Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Not to mention the rehashes with X-Pac, Road Dogg, and Billy Gunn.
But look at the crowd reaction they get. It's
I
still
understand.
huge.
Can we get Barry Windham in the next version of DX so they can finally, everything can be full circle?
Well, I mean, then you have to put in Lex Luger.
Oh, poor Lex. He's in a wheelchair right now. But really, I mean, as long as DX is selling all that stuff, believe me. I mean, the glow sticks, $10. Look at in the arena, they're everywhere.
I know.
They're making tons of cash. They're going to keep bringing it back.
I hate it, but I know.
Well, what I'm interested in is how everything. It looks like it's an ending point at Hell in a Cell.
A cage match is always the end to a feud.
Right.
Supposed to be.
Well, which one hasn't been?
Oh, I don't have the history.
Oh, then don't
right
supposedly
now.
me.
But I mean, no, it's I know it's your beloved WWE.
Well, you know what? But that right there is the blueprint of wrestling, and not Matt Morgan. It's the WWE. They've survived everything. They've outlasted AWA, WCW, Georgia Championship. They bought all the territories. They've been successful. And
hell, Vince outlasted the government.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's beat him yet. But yeah, the cage match, the Hell in the Cell, is always supposed to be the end of a feud.
Supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have Randy Orton and John Cena with the title. You see Randy Orton getting this back again, or is there? It's in an unusual area right now because as top heel, as many of us have said with Randy Orton, I thought he'd have this title at least another pay-per-view. But now with Cena having this thing,
but we've always talked,
who chases? Who chases who?
And we've always talked that the money is always in the face chasing the heel for the title. But
right.
If the Hell in a Cell, if a cage match is supposed to be the end of it, is that where they're going to put Chavo and Hornswoggle?
Probably. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh.
See, I can't see Randy Orton quitting and then losing another violent match. And when I say violent, I don't mean, old school violent. I'm just saying a quote-unquote violent gimmick match. And keep in mind, Survivor Series is not that far away, even though I think they're changing the name. It's not Survivor Series anymore. But Survivor Series is when they start to get the ball rolling for Royal Rumble, then WrestleMania. So the next couple of pay-per-views will be very interesting.
That would be a huge mistake if they change the name of Survivor Series. That is a branded name that they really need to keep.
I would be upset if they did that. When we come back, we will preview TNA's pay-per-view this Sunday, No Surrender, and we'll talk about that when we come back. Broadcasting live for the Time Warner Cable Studios in downtown Milwaukee. You're listening to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. TNA has a pay-per-view coming up this Sunday called No Surrender.
Got it. I got it. Okay, there we go. The Boss, No Surrender.
Perfect. It was a movie, wasn't it? No Retreat, No Surrender.
Yeah.
It came out.
Never back down. Never surrender. Wasn't that a movie with, what's his face? Yeah, it's pointless. Go ahead, Frank.
All right. Let's go through these matches. There's a $50,000 bounty versus the Legends Championship. It's Abyss and Kevin Nash.
So if Kevin Nash wins, he becomes, or he, gets his $50,000 bounty.
Is this title on the line?
I don't think it's on the line.
I'm confused by this one.
That's why I don't know if you should be reading them off, because TNA can do that to you. Not that it's because it's you. It's TNA.
Right. Well, let's just pick.
So Kevin Nash
wins?
No, Kevin Nash is going up
against.
Well, I don't think the title's on the line, though. Kevin Nash is going after
the
$50,000.
the champion.
Because he is a champion. Kevin Nash is going after the $50,000 bounty on the head of Abyss. Because Kevin Nash has always said it's about the money.
We should have had Kevin on the show tonight.
Explain it.
All right,
take a couple minutes.
But it'd be like somebody from the E explaining what was going on in Breaking Point, because they said at first all the matches were submission and then all of them weren't, and they don't know what's going on.
Lethal Lockdown, Beer Money, Team 3D, Scott Steiner, Booker T.
Beer.
And the British Invasion. What do you like here?
Beer.
Money. You think so? You think it's beer money?
No, I just wanted to do the gimmick. But I do like beer money in this match, though.
I'm going to go with the British Invasion in this one.
Because of Rob Terry? Damien's guy for 2010?
Possibly.
I think beer money would be the fans' choice.
Yeah.
That's who has to go over.
The Boss makes his pay-per-view debut.
Bruce Springsteen?
No, it's the Boss. Bobby Lashley will take on the War Machine Rhino. So if Bobby Lashley doesn't go over, wouldn't it just not make
any sense? It's
going to
be a squash.
It's about a
second.
It's a 2 minute. It's a 2 minute.
It'll
squash.
be.
Rhino will go for a gore. Will miss. Bobby Lashley will pull off whatever move he's doing now, and that'll be the end of it.
The Dominator.
Whatever move it is now.
I just told you. It's the Dominator.
In the TNA World Heavyweight Championship match, Sting, AJ Styles versus Matt Morgan versus the champion, Kurt Angle. Angle keep this another round.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Sting goes over. And
to make AJ Sting
and then
for
they
Bound
set
for Glory?
up AJ Sting Bound for Glory.
But you're the same guy, and I read this comment on one of the YouTube videos that said that Sting AJ wasn't money.
It's not. It won't draw money. People aren't going to buy the pay-per-view for that match.
It's just an added match that goes.
It's just okay. You know what? If Sting's going to bow out, he's going to put over AJ Styles.
Yeah, and that's where they've been building to.
Right, but people aren't. You know, I mean, yeah, you'll get the AJ Styles fans. They're going to buy the pay-per-view, to see that match. But for the majority of the fans, they're not buying it for that.
And we've all talked about the money match for this pay-per-view should be Angle Lashley.
Yeah.
Is it going to happen?
Well, they got a few weeks to put it together. But keep in mind, TNA is such a mess right now. They're minus one agent. They're minus two bookers.
And not Booker T.
Well, hey, Booker man, what are you doing?
Just look at the run.
You know what?
You're booking everybody else. What are you booking for yourself, Booker man?
You know what? I would love the money match is Kurt Angle versus Bobby Lashley.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's the two great amateurs. Both guys can go an hour. I think that right there is a great match.
Right. Speaking of Kurt Angle, most of his charges have been dropped. But one thing you touched on was a year ago, maybe even longer. This is a man that he gives it all in the ring, but behind the scenes, maybe not everything is clicking.
Does he let
his
gimmick go? Is kind of what I was getting at. Does he let his gimmick go? Is he that intense when he's ordering fries at McDonald's?
Because now he has.
I don't think Kurt Angle goes to McDonald's.
It's just an analogy.
Because he now has this, everything's cleared for the most part. Everything's been cleared. But
he also put himself in that position.
Right. Does he kind of take this as all right, I didn't get away with it, quote unquote. Everything's off limits.
When does he slow down?
Exactly. Is this the time for it? Because I'm looking at this pay-per-view, and if he does lose, that might be the opportunity where maybe someone has said, "Hey, Kurt, take it easy."
Not a pay-per-view before their biggest show of the year. No.
You don't think Kurt Angle? But here's the thing: Kurt Angle doesn't have to get pinned to lose the title.
No, what I'm saying, I think what Frank is getting at is take a break after this pay-per-view. And I'm saying absolutely not.
Oh, no. It might be Bound for Glory. He takes a break
after Bound for Glory. Yeah.
But Kurt Angle, he's just intense. I mean, his entire life, all he's done is wrestled. He's trained.
He's competed.
Yeah, exactly. He's a competitor. It's never going to change. He's never going to slow down.
Got to for his life, for his health. I mean, what is his competitiveness cost him? Obviously, as we're at the 3-minute warning, his competitiveness has gotten him everything. But what does his competitiveness cost him?
Oh, it's
a
cost
marriage,
him his marriage, yeah.
A family.
I'm sure it's cost him some
public
money
humiliation,
as well.
money.
But he's still the Olympic gold medalist.
That's right, and has a contract for TNA.
Kevin Nash calls him a machine. He's nonstop.
And that's a good thing and a bad thing.
Good thing and a bad thing could be Jeff Hardy, which is trying to find any information on this.
Well, what I've heard about Jeff is that the stuff that they found, it was his. It was his own stash that he's built up over time, or that he's purchased over time. Because he was found with the pain pills and the steroids. Let's face it, the steroids help the healing process.
Right.
And when you take bumps off ladders 30 feet high, it's all about healing.
Absolutely.
So I'm pretty sure when it's all said and done, a lot of these charges will be dropped against Jeff
Hardy. I think it's been blown out of proportion a little bit.
So he's basically a free agent at this current time.
Oh yeah,
he's out.
Yeah, he's done. I mean, and fortunately for him, if he was still under contract, he probably would have been fired because this would have been his third offense.
And WWE right now is still selling his merchandise.
Well, it's going to keep selling.
Yeah.
He would have been done
if
this would have
finished. Timing was everything.
Gentlemen?
Hey, wait, let's not forget BG James. He's on Facebook now.
He is.
Yeah, just search BG James.
We want to thank BG James. We want to thank Kip James. We want to thank all the callers who joined us today, this evening. Next week, we will do this again at 8 o'clock Central Time.
Wednesday.
Prime time.
Right?
Wednesday.
Scheduled to join us, AJ Styles.
And?
Scheduled to join us, Mr. Kennedy or Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Whatever's not going to get us to cease and desist, that's what we're going to call.
We're going to call. And we'll take your phone calls. And, again, hit pwrshow.com. Send us emails. Go on the forum. Do anything, and we will
pay attention to the product as well on pwrshow.com. There's a brand new primetime coming up this week. There's also going to be a buttload of expresses where we answer your emails.
For the man they call Meathead, Dave Hero, Fish doing a fantastic job behind the glass. I'm Frank
Damien and catering.
We will do this again next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Have a good week, everyone.